Gentlemen, welcome to the 101.
This is the first podcast, and it's called Plant-Based 101. Today we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about plant-based diets, why you would do a plant-based diet, how you're going to do a plant-based diet, and we'll talk a little bit about the new movie there, The Game Changers. I think I can relax a little bit more than this. I hear a lot of popping.
Yeah, we're good, guys. This has been in the making for 2 years. We've been talking about doing this podcast, and it's fallen into place. Like Joey bought a beautiful home where he's got a podcasting studio. We got all the equipment. Our lives have lined up. We live down the street from each other.
That's it. 10 minutes away, man. That's how the universe works,
it's
right?
It's meant to be. This is meant to be. We don't know what's going to come out of it, but we know it's going to be at least funny.
Yeah.
Hopefully informative. Hopefully we want information, but someone's probably going to be laughing at us. So.
Yeah. So my name's Joey. A lot of you guys know me already. Joey Busanovics. I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in strength and conditioning, mostly strength, to be honest with you. I like powerlifting. I'm a powerlifter currently. I haven't competed yet, but that's basically me in a nutshell. Just bought a brand new house. I do a little bit of real estate stuff, do a little bit of finance stuff, banks, and have a couple brands, couple companies. And basically that's me. And Pat, you want to let the audience know a little bit about yourself before we move forward?
So I'm the nutrition guy. Most of you guys know me, Phyto Performance Nutrition. I'm going to be bringing that aspect. Joey's got the lifting side of things. He's got the finance side of things. Whereas I've got the nutrition and health perspective. We're going to tie both together. I got the science. I am a respiratory therapist. I've been working as a respiratory therapist. It's the first degree I ever completed. Did a science deck, did a bachelor's of sports nutrition, and I'm just finishing up my master's of exercise physiology.
This guy's a beast.
And I'm starting my PhD right after that. So it's constant. I've been digging into science. I've been working as a performance nutrition consultant, small clinic.
You're making me look like shit here, Pat.
No, man, you got. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You got the whole. You're tied in.
Yeah, I like powerlifting and strength training. You're like, I've got 17 degrees. Okay, my bad. Sorry to cut you off there.
At least they're laughing at us.
Okay, go. You were somewhere and I cut you off. Let's get back on track. My bad about that. My bad.
So today, what we want to talk about is, this is the perfect timing too, because there was this big, game-changing documentary that came out, and it's not the first time that I've witnessed this in my career as a performance nutrition consultant. The first big one. I'm in the market and I can feel what's happening. The last one was What the Health. Everyone comes in and thinks they're dying. Yeah. I don't even remember what that podcast was, but I never liked it because they were trying to say that animal protein caused diabetes.
Talked a lot of shit about dairy.
Yeah, well, they were saying that something like dairy caused diabetes, and anyone who knows anything about nutrition was just like, oh, turn this off. But it still had a huge impact.
I just have to burp on the side.
There it goes.
There we go.
Sound effects. And then as someone who's working, it's like you have your pulse in the industry. Everyone's coming in and they mention the thing. The same thing's happening now with this documentary. It's like it's a new round. This one is I like more. It's more legitimate. I don't think everything is good about it. That's for sure. We're going to discuss that. There's too much of a hate on animal protein. There's a bias. There's like this vegan
stigma. There's a stigma against it, and I think it really creates a little bit of a divide between people who are for veganism and plant-based and people that are strictly for meat. And I think what it really comes down to is that, and this is no offense to anybody that is on the meat side of it, right? It's just people are a bit stuck in their ways. They're a little bit too traditional. They don't want to go against the grain as far as what their parents taught them and stuff like that.
Culture.
Yeah, so I'm going to go right into it. I'm going to hit you with Couple of questions. We're going to start off with what is a plant-based diet and what are the benefits of eating plant-based? Let's keep it pretty general. We can get specific. We'll play around with it. Just give me a little bit of rundown on your thoughts about plant-based and people going plant-based.
Yeah. So, I mean, plant-based is a great term because it's not vegan. Like, it's, what does plant-based mean? Well, it means that you're plant-based. Like you're primarily based in eating plants.
Yeah.
And it's much more general. And I think it's something that can unify.
Oh, here we go.
It can unify those two parties.
01limited.com. No, it's actually not working. Don't try to go to the website. Go on.
Not yet, but it's going to be on this website. And is that an O1 Limited shirt?
This is an O1 Limited shirt. Yeah, you should have worn a Phyto Nutrition shirt. Eat your veggies. Shut up and eat your veggies. I got one in my closet. I was about to wear it too.
I didn't think of that.
Should pull it out. What size are you? It shrunk a bit there, so it might not fit you anymore there.
Medium shows my muscle.
Okay, so you're looking more like an extra medium right now.
Yeah, like large is good.
Where were we? We get distracted easily. All right, back to it. Plant-based. Yeah. I mean, as far as a trainer and someone who's kind of just in that fitness and nutrition lifestyle, a lot of people come up to me, they ask me about it too, right? So I refer to a lot of the stuff that you've told me in the past and a lot of stuff that I've done research on myself. I think obviously it makes sense that it is based on majority plant-based food. But one thing that people have to realize is that it doesn't have to be 100% plant-based, and it's really hard to sustain a 100% plant-based diet. So Pat has always been telling me it's about flexibility and sustainability. So I think it's a little bit closed-minded when people think plant-based is being promoted, or when they think that you're going plant-based, you're talking about plant-based. They get a little bit shut off because they think you're trying to shift their whole diet to plant-based, when that's not really the reality for most people, or for people who are trying to go that way. It's not going to be sustainable. So it's definitely, I think that's a lot of the pushback is because people are trying to push back against going 100% plant-based. But if you're already eating shit right now, guys, we don't expect you to go plant-based and just change your life around. Okay, so that's really what it comes down to. That's
it. It's like, why do we always have to create these boxes, these strict boxes?
Yeah.
Like plant-based, in its definition, it's just based in plants. It's not a strict box. Yet some people immediately create that box. But that box is the vegan box. The vegan box is a very extreme box. And people who are in it, it's like they almost hate people who are outside of it.
Yeah.
They hate meat eaters. They have something against them a lot, but there's mixed reasons for being in that box. But you don't have to create a box. You don't have to create a plant-based box.
Yeah.
It's a flexible box. It keeps the doors open. And I think that's the best kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Clearly, eating plants is good for us.
Yeah.
It provides us with vitamins, minerals, fibers, proteins, antioxidants. We have a boatload of things within these plants. And that's why when I was studying sports nutrition, the big theme, which I didn't go into McGill and do my bachelor's thinking I was going to start a plant-based sports nutrition company, but I came out the other side saying, okay, well, if I want to help athletes perform the best that they can, I have to do it from a plant-based perspective, because that's what the science is showing. We're getting so much from these plants, and what they also showed me is that they're discovering these new compounds, these new antioxidants. They don't know what they're doing, but every day they're finding out more and more. Like within one plant, within one fruit.
Yeah. There's multiple benefits, right?
Multiple benefits at many different levels, and they're discovering new compounds, and then these compounds do different things.
Yeah.
And so this is back, I was studying from 2012 to 2016. So there's some sick sound effects.
That's a cool one.
Automobiles. And anyways, I came out of that and I'm like, I gotta create. And one class specifically inspired me. It was called Herbs, Foods, and Phytochemicals by Dr. Timothy John. And he physically had us walk through the Morgan Arboretum, and he gave us like a list of 100 plants. He's like, identify these plants. We're going to talk about the medicinal compounds of each of these plants. I was literally walking through the regular, you walk through any woods around here in Vaudreuil, whatever, Pierrefonds, it's all the same stuff. and there was like 100 different of them. They all had medicinal properties. They soothe a sore throat. They are good for your heart. They are good for skin rashes. And this is like, we're looking at like the basic like herbs and things that we don't even know what they do of. And that's where medicine has evolved from. It's evolved from plants. So clearly there's a power to these things. We're learning to understand them. From a scientific perspective, we know that there's an advantage to certain plant-based foods in terms of athletic performance. We know that you get more from plants than you can from meat. But it's, again, meat is not bad. And being on this boxed in way of life, like I eat meat and I hate vegans. I'm a vegan.
It's not a war. It's not a war on meat. It's not a war on anything. It's we're not fighting for something. What we're really looking for is for the people that are around us to get the right information, and to make their own decisions. And the thing is everyone talks about how it's an industry war. I've heard people say stuff about. It's the sugar industry against the meat. I don't care about these industries. I care about the science. And so one thing I know you can't argue is science. So I don't care about what conspiracies you might have that people are trying to bash meat or destroy an industry. It's an industry that's destroying the planet, first of all, but it's an industry that's basically giving us food that's destroying our body too. And so it's not to say that it's the most harmful thing for you. We just want you guys to have the information, and we want you to make the right choices with that information so that you can be optimal in your day-to-day, and so you can have optimal performance if you're an athlete, or cognitive performance if you're a student. And it just helps mind, body, soul that you have a balanced diet, you have balanced activity, and we want you guys to have the right information. So it's not against anything, it's not for anything, it's just giving you the information. And that's what I think it really comes down to. We don't have any prejudice, we don't have any bias, we just have science that we're using, and we're taking those tools and we kind of just want to bring them to light for the general public. That's definitely what our basis would be. I guess we're just trying to take these general topics that most people are a bit confused about, whether it comes to training, once again, fitness, whether it comes to finance, career, entrepreneurial, and or food, which we think is a major starting point, because our food is what gives us our energy throughout the day. So we're just here to give you guys the information, and we're not fighting for anyone, we're not fighting against anyone, we're just here.
I like those three things: the nutrition, fitness, and finance, because they literally are like three fundamental things of human life.
Absolutely. And from a finance perspective, that doesn't necessarily mean we're talking about the foreign exchange or the financial markets. We're talking about personal finance. We're talking about managing businesses, managing profit, understanding how to make profit, understanding how to create revenue streams. These are all topics we'll hit later on. And marketing yourself, and investments, and investments can mean real estate too. So finance is really just, we're talking monetary in general. And it's definitely, I would say those are three pillars to having a successful life. If we could put friends and family up there too, I'd like that, but it'd be a bit long, and I don't really know how much we could talk about friends and family.
No, we can put it up. We put the 101, nutrition, fitness, and finance, and friends and family, and animals.
And fashion. As you can see, we've got, actually you can't see it, but we got like a few hundred ties around us that, might spice up your outfit. Anyways, I'm just pushing things right now. I'm cross promoting, but we can get into that in another podcast.
This is what we're gonna do. This is it. Like, we're gonna talk about all these things, and you're gonna buy a tie. I mean, at the end of the day,
you're buying a tie, and you're gonna need a finance plan. I don't write finance plans. I'm nowhere by any means.
I mean, neither of us, I think, we both like finance. We both invest in real estate. I have multiple properties, but we're not experts. We both run businesses. So, but I think from the finance perspective, we're going to invite people on. We're going to have third-party people come on to this show. And really, like, we're interested in finance. We're not experts in finance. I think that's a good way to put it. I'd say he's an expert in fitness, and I'm becoming an expert in nutrition. Anyways,
That's
it's like
it.
my whole life. It's all I do. I work,
Yeah.
I study, and I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Both of us, fitness applies to us. We run businesses. We own real estate. We're very interested in it, but we're also going to bring on experts who are much above us, and we're going to have loads of questions for them.
Yeah.
But going
back to plant-based.
Plant-based.
So
Are you plant-based? Like, what is your?
am I plant-based?
Yeah.
So I mean, to
what's
be
your
honest with
nutrition?
you, I've been since we met about three years ago. I've been intrigued a little bit more by nutrition just based on the content you've dropped online and the conversations that we've had. So I am nutrition conscious. That's what I'm gonna say, and I'm an intuitive eater, and I know what my body needs. So I'm an intuitive.
Explain what an intuitive eater
An
is.
intuitive eater is someone who can look at a meal and wake up in the morning and break down what they're eating without having to put it into a tracker. And they can kind of understand at least the macronutrient breakdown of a meal.
So how did you get to that point?
That point came from obviously a lot of studying and understanding what foods offer certain nutrient breakdowns and what type of calories we're doing. But
Did you
a lot
try
of
it at one point?
yeah, it all came from tracking originally. It all came from tracking on FitnessPal for several months. When I first got my plan with you, with the food app, and then I did the nutrition, FitnessPal. And so I tracked everything for I think 3 months, and there's almost not a food on a grocery list that I'm going to pick up that I don't know the calories and the macronutrient breakdown, the fiber content.
And that's something that I think that we've both discussed and we want to send home is if you want to understand nutrition, it's like, and you don't want to go invest right away, you could download an app and start tracking your food, and you're going to learn inherently the caloric and macronutrient composition of food. You're not going to necessarily know anything more than that, and that's where an expert comes in, like, am I getting the right vitamins and minerals and fibers, cholesterol, saturated fats, antioxidants? The further balance is the expertise. You could read, and it gets complicated. If you want someone to balance a plan out, that's where the value is. But anybody and everyone from the early ages, I think this should happen in school. In a nutrition class, we should learn the value of food.
Yeah.
Obesity is killing us. Obesity is what overeating, just eating too much food, whether you're plant-based, whether you're eating meat, whether you're eating McDonald's every day, eating too much is the worst. Like even if you're plant-based.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's clean food. Eating too much will still kill you.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. So it's learning the value of food. Like eating potato chips is plant-based.
Fat and being obese and being inactive, it's all a slow killer. It's really like you were saying. What were you saying about eating chips there?
Plant-based.
Yeah.
Chips are freaking plant-based. Canola oil and potatoes.
Yeah.
They are from the ground, but they're processed and they're shitty. And fried fats is the worst thing you can do for you. It's delicious. Not saying don't ever do it, but it's very easy to overeat. And overeating is the killer.
Yeah.
That's what's going to give you the issues. So learning the value of food. Like you had learned, like anyone could do, just to simply track your food, inherently learn the value, and then you can make better decisions without ever having to invest a penny into nutrition.
It's like you got to make yourself a test subject for this big experiment that you're living in, and certain foods might give you indigestion, certain foods might make you tired, certain carbs might make you tired. You got to track it at least to a certain degree for a certain amount of time in order to understand what reactions you're getting from specific foods. If you need, pre-workouts, or if a coffee is enough, or if you're getting enough energy from, a piece of toast and peanut butter in the morning. If that's good for you, then that's good for you. But you got to try different things in order to know what works for you, because it's all individual, right? So when it becomes intuitive, it's because you've tested, you've tweaked, you've adapted, you've adopted new styles, you've understood it from a little bit of a higher level than just the basics. But yeah, being intuitive, I think, is all just tweaking and understanding and starting with a trial kind of mentality that you are the trial, you are the subject in an experiment, and you got to see what works for you. So at the end of the day,
ultimately you learn.
Yeah.
Like you come out, you have a better understanding of nutrition. And it all just starts with this tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And it leads to intuitive nutrition.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. I mean, when I need to be strict and if I want to like really hone in on body composition changes, you have to be strict and you really have to create a plan.
Yeah.
But 90% of the time I don't follow a plan, but I know exactly what I have to do in the right proportions.
Exactly.
To optimize the way I feel.
So where do we start? So that's we're gonna come back to that. So
well, we got to go back into the plant-based, right?
Yeah, we fell off track on plant-based. We started to hit nutrition, but it's fine. It's our first episode.
This is beautiful, man.
We're giving people an idea of the type of rants we might get on.
Yeah.
So
look at that.
Hello, see brand new Audio Technica AT 2020 with the Audio Technica M20X earphones and the beautiful Roland Rubix 22 setup. All under $600. We're gonna get a second mic soon. Guys, do your research in life. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we spoke about what a plant-based diet is. It doesn't necessarily mean not eating meat either. It means flexibility. It means majority plant-based. So what are the most important things people should know before they try to go plant-based? And we kind of touched that a little bit. So I'm going to hit the 3 topics just in case someone wants to zoom through. So the first and most important thing would, I think we discussed this and we both agreed upon it, is macronutrients. Understanding macros, what are they? Why are they so important? How do we manage them? And once again, we manage them by understanding things like the macronutrient breakdown in the foods that we take, our daily intakes, how we track these macros, and we do that with things like FitnessPal or in the food app, that you have. That's still the app that you guys are using? Food?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called.
You don't know what your app is called? The Fido app.
Yeah.
So macronutrients are huge. Why are macronutrients so huge?
So what are the macronutrients?
So so we got fat, we got protein, and we got carbohydrates.
So that's it. 3. There's 3 macronutrients, and then they all turn into what?
Energy.
Exactly.
So those are an energy source for us, and those are our day-to-day energy sources, right?
They all, and this is I think an important thing for people to understand. Doesn't matter what foods you eat, it's always going to be made up of 3 main things: the macros, and then they all turn into the exact same thing, and that's fuel.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they can all be burnt and turn into fuel. They can do other things, which we won't go into to complicate things. But
especially protein, extremely complicated.
I'd say fats is the most complicated.
I think fats we understand the least about as far as
the average individual doesn't realize how complicated.
Yeah, the advances are probably for what we've touched even on proteins, but as far as fats, you're right. It probably is a little bit more complex, and we know less about.
Yeah, fats bigger molecules, and there's so many different ones, and they all do different things.
Yeah.
The average individual, even the trained individual, is overwhelmed by fats.
Fats are complex.
But fat, carbs, protein. So an example of fats is butter, olive oil, pure fat. That's pure oil.
Yeah.
An example of protein is steak or plant-based proteins. Important to know is they're generally not really pure proteins. They're always a mix of carbs.
Yeah.
And proteins.
Yeah.
Whereas animal proteins are often a mix of fat and protein.
Fat and protein.
So beans, tofu, meat, physical meat, chicken, beef, and then
dairies.
Carbs
are huge for proteins.
Yeah, but they're a mix of all 3. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, if you say milk's like a fat, carb, protein.
True. True. Absolutely.
Similar amounts.
I just feel like it's one of my go-tos as far as if I need protein intake. If I want to disperse that through the day.
It's nutritious. Milk's nutritious. People have a fear of it, but it's one of the cleaner animal-based proteins you can get.
So macros. Back to the macros.
Back to the macros. We've got the calories. We've got the 3. The carbs. Carbs is simple. Bread is the easiest thing to think of.
Yeah.
So let's say meat, tofu, protein. Fat are oils or butter and olive oil, carbs, bread and flour.
Pasta.
These are just general categories to help you guys understand. Um,
I'm playing again.
and they all turn into calories.
Yeah,
They
it all
go
turns,
into-
and so these are energy yielding nutrients, right? So then there are other nutrients, micronutrients, phytonutrients, and those are all a
Right.
little bit more complicated.
So that's it.
That's
So
why the basics are at least good to understand.
So all any foods you eat, whether it's McDonald's hamburger or something from what's that healthy restaurant that's vegan around here?
Copper Branch, yeah.
At the end of the day, it all has fats, carbs, proteins. Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, one's going to be animal based, one's going to be plant based. But okay, let's go a deeper level. Then we're looking at micronutrients and phytonutrients. So
Yeah.
you could split those two categories. Now, you want food that's got the carbs, fats, proteins. All food does. But you want it to be rich in micronutrients and phytonutrients.
Which
Are you going to get that in the McDonald's? See, that's where it's lacking. The carbs,
Yeah.
fats, proteins might be the same as the Copper Branch meal, but now the micronutrients, phytonutrients is going to be significantly, it's off the charts in comparison.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just saw it's not a revelation, but something really cool is that I realized that micronutrients are actually more long term, have a more long term effect on the body. So
Yeah.
what they can do for you, and so micro actually has more of a macro effect on the body, and macros actually have more of a micro and short term effects because they're just yielding energy. So the macronutrients in essence are really affecting you on a micro level on a day to day, and the micronutrients are actually affecting you on a macro level in the long term.
Yeah.
Are you lacking these vitamins?
Yeah.
Are you lacking these
Deficiencies
nutrients?
take a lot of time. It's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, that's something I just thought of right now actually.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But the micronutrient deficiencies, you're not going to feel it. Most of them you're not going to feel immediately. Some of them are energy producing, maybe like B12 and some of the B complex
Yeah.
can give you an energy boost throughout the day. But the majority of them, like, they stack and they build, and you have to maintain levels. And if you deplete those levels in weeks and months, then you get the negative effects.
And that all comes down to, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, soluble and insoluble nutrients, or does it have to do with anything?
Well, it has to do with their absorption. Like,
The absorption, and so like for example, a B12 you might not need as much of a regular B12 intake. Is that correct, or is it B12 something that you'll need on a regular basis?
B12 you don't need it necessarily on a daily basis, but you definitely need it on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to maintain like a certain blood level. It's important for nerve health, like nerve regeneration,
Nice.
blood cell regeneration,
Yeah.
and maybe a part of immune function. But if you're depleted, then nerve cells can't regenerate properly and function properly, and then you can become your red blood cell production can decrease because it's an essential cofactor for the production of red blood cells.
Yeah, exactly. So immune health, really.
Yeah.
Let's just cap up macronutrients. I'm going to talk a little bit about protein just quickly, guys. Protein is made out of, it's 26 aminos. Yeah, correct.
I think, well, generally they say there's 20 general amino acids.
20 general amino acids.
There's a lot of there's a lot of amino acids, probably over 100.
Over 100. 20
depending
in
on
protein.
what you calculate.
Exactly. Okay, so basically, protein is the building block, or the aminos are the building block for tissue and body tissue. So when it comes to recovery and growth in as far as a muscular level, protein is very important. So I make sure that all my clients get enough protein, and I know that it's been big in the media. Oh, protein, we're getting enough protein, and this and that. But I still think that as far as something to start off and to understand macronutrients, a lot of the misconceptions are that carbs and enemy, or we're getting too many proteins. Hey, oh shit. What do we got? Reserve battery power. Protein, I would start with protein. If you're going to want to understand the macronutrients, I would start with protein and start trying to get yourself on a higher protein based diet, and that's a good way to start, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great recommendation. One of the easiest ways to stop overeating, first of all, if overeating is your issue and you've gained weight, and you're trying to lose weight,
Sorry, Pat, just gotta move you forward a little bit
one
there.
of the easiest things to do is
There we go.
to increase your protein intake. By increasing your protein's the most satiating macronutrient, so the most satiating type of food. Whenever I create diets to help people lose weight, 90% of the time I'm going high fiber, high protein. Both of these things fill you up quickly so that you can eat less. Protein is one of the easiest things to increase. So if you start tracking your calories, you're someone new, and you do want to go plant-based because you've watched this Game Changers movie, you want to try it out. I think trying it out for a month's a good thing. At the same time, you want to learn about nutrition. Well, especially on a plant-based vegan diet, you want to put focus onto the protein intake. Find your sources of protein.
Yeah.
Where are they? What are they? You're only eating plant-based. So beans, like you got to be chickpeas, beans, lentils. Look at the portions, look at the protein ratios. Enter what you're eating and see how much protein you could get up to in a day. You want your protein generally to be a high protein diet. It's like 20% of your total calorie intake.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and whole wheat sandwiches. Hemp hearts, throw some hemp hearts on it. You get a protein boost. I love hemp hearts. I think plant-based protein, if you are going to try it out, again, I'm a flexible vegetarian, primarily plant-based, but I think if you're trying to improve your health after watching this movie, you want to learn about nutrition, I say try it. Immerse yourself, but then it's unsustainable in the long run. But stay plant-based after that. Like keep a lot of the habits.
Yeah.
But while you're in it, the biggest thing you got to watch out for is that protein. So I'd recommend getting a plant-based protein, a hemp-based protein powder,
or supplement, supplementing,
and then find your protein sources: peanut butter and brown bread. Throw some honey on, or banana. Sweeten it up. Spice it with some hemp hearts. It boosts the protein and omega fatty acid concentration of the diet. And beans, like buy the cans. Learn to make your own hummus. Buy your hummus. Put it
hummus is fantastic.
With bread.
With some tahini.
Yeah.
Hummus and tahini. Oh boy.
Yeah. Use protein shakes. Plant-based. One of the best plant-based milks out there is pea milk by what's the pea milk company? Ripple.
Yeah, it's gonna get all kinds of gas here. My bad, guys. My bad about that.
We got planes, trains, automobiles.
All right, so
they all run on gas.
We will break down macronutrients on a later episode, and we'll probably expand a little bit on this. I should have put the time. I have no idea how much time we're at. I didn't even look at the time to start. We're probably 72 minutes deep. But, okay, so just to bring you guys back, the 3 most important things to know if you're trying to go plant-based. Number 1, macronutrients. Number 2, caloric intake. And number 3, sustainability or preparation. So they kind of both run into the same category. We'll talk a little bit now about caloric intake. Why is caloric intake so important? On just a really brief level, it's the ins and outs. It's what's going in to fuel you and what's going out when you do your day-to-day activities. And on top of that, your inactive calories burnt are also part of this big picture. So I like to look at it like a pie chart or a big number that you're taking in and a big number that you're exerting out. So caloric intake is massive when it comes to weight loss, body composition, weight maintenance, growth, all kinds of different things. But most importantly, that if you're overeating, once again, like Pat was saying, you're going to gain weight. So if you're over in your calories and you're not burning enough, then it's simple math. If you're over in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. So that's why it's important to understand caloric intake. And also, actually, that's it. You got anything?
well, I like bringing it back to this plant-based theme because it's something that people are very curious about right now. It's stimulating curiosity, which is always a good thing. And that's what we want to provide is some knowledge. Whether you're plant-based or not, calories matter. Calories in to calories out. You could gain a shitload of weight on a healthy plant-based diet.
Oh shit! What did I do? Did I do something there?
I lost my my headset.
Entirely.
Yeah. There's no. Oh no! It's still there, but it's lighter. You changed the sensitivity.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
How'd you do that?
This might be.
Oh, yeah, it's back.
There we go. I
There
just
we
wanted
go.
to bring it back to the middle.
So,
Oh, we might get.
how
some
do
more
you
left.
make sure you're getting calories? Well, one, you can learn to track them. If you don't want to track them, how does the body eat more than it's supposed to? Well, generally, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, whether that's processed plant-based foods or it's processed just animal foods and it's just shitty food. Shitty food is shitty food. It doesn't matter if it's plant-based or not.
Shitty food.
If it's processed, your
Okay.
chances are, and you eat a lot of processed food, you're going to overeat because your body has a hard time calculating the calories. It's usually fiberless and decreased nutrient composition. So you eat that McDonald's freaking vegan burger, if that exists, well, it's heavily processed and there's less nutrients, there's less fiber. It's mostly salt, sugar, fat, and that was 1,000 calories, but your body thinks it's 400. Yeah, you're gonna eat more. You're gonna eat.
So it's based on how difficult is it for your body to break it down, and so we've got two types of calories that two ways of expenditures or two expenditures for calories. One is active calories and two it's inactive calories. So there's a lot of bodily functions. It's bodily versus body, right? So body functions are walking around, right? So that would be active, picking up a pen, setting up this tripod or whatever. And bodily functions are things like digestive system, lymphatic system, I guess immune system, your blood flow, all these different things. So we've got two different expenditures for calories. And so when it comes down to bodily function and digestion, if you're consuming things that are really easy to break down, or if your body is confused by what it's taking in, once again, you're going to be less full, right? There's this cool thing that I read up about stretch receptors in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
So stretch receptors and what you consume, that what you have in your belly will enlarge in a grand scheme make you full, but also it's how you're breaking it down too in a digestive matter. So if you're taking in, and we could bring it back to the carbs, for example, if you're taking in like a cookie, it might have the same carbohydrate breakdown as a piece of bread or something that's
An apple.
But it's broken down a lot easier.
It doesn't have to work for it.
Exactly.
So
it's a
not
simple
gonna
carb.
burn as much calories
Exactly.
to absorb that cookie as it would. That's a good point.
So you have the same amount of calories for a cookie and a apple, for example, or two cookies and an apple. They have both the same carbohydrate breakdown, but one of them is simple and one of them is complex. And the one that's more complex is going to actually take a lot longer to break down, and that will actually lead to more calories burnt and more inactive calories in your entire daily expenditure.
Yeah.
So
That's a good strategy.
yeah.
It's a good strategy. When you eat whole foods, you are going to be burning more calories just because these whole foods take more work to break down.
Exactly.
Your intestines are muscles. Like they're just these big tubes filled with muscles, and they got to crunch this food down. But if you eat that like refined cookie, it's quickly absorbed. Doesn't have to be broken down. There's no fiber. Fiber is what stays in the intestines. You got to crunch. Protein, it's hard to break down. I mean, we're probably looking at like max 100 to 200 calorie difference per day if you were to eat a whole bunch of like garbage refined food.
Yeah.
Like you ate chips and Chinese food without the veggies and cookies all day.
Yeah.
Versus if you were eating whole foods, good peanut butter sandwiches and
250 calories difference, fuck, something like that.
fruits and veggies and stir fries, and you ate all that all day, and beans and lentils if you're going full plant based. We're looking, depending on the size of your body, how much food you're eating. Probably you could squeeze out like an extra 150 calories versus the shit diet that doesn't require any. It's just refined and absorbed.
But if you break that down over a long term,
and this goes into finance. The little things make a difference in the long run.
Exactly. It's like adding an additional pre-authorized transfer to your fund, right? You're going to grow it a lot better because it's on the fluctuated market, and you're buying it high, buying it low, and you're also adding it passively to your original source of savings. It's going to compound over time. It's going to add up. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I like
stack.
adding a little bit more to your mortgage and how that stacks up to saving you a
Oh
shitload
yeah,
of
it's
money.
incredible. It's
Just a
incredible.
little bit more.
Going weekly versus going bi-weekly is massive, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it adds up. I mean, the way I look at it, when I break it down calories to clients or friends or family or whatever it is, I look at it this way. If in the grand scheme you're in a surplus of 500 calories for 7 days, that's 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound of fat, right?
Yeah.
So 1 pound of fat at 3,500 calories gained a week if you're in a 500 surplus, okay? We can say if you're in a 100 calorie surplus, like for example, the difference between eating complex and simple foods, or things that are broken down harder. If you're in a 100 calorie surplus in a day, it'll take you 5 weeks to gain a pound of fat. And 5 weeks is a very short period of time, and so is a week. So it might not seem like 100 calories or 500 calories or 200 calories is a lot, but when it's added up over a long period of time, it is a lot. And it could not only affect your body composition, but it could affect your things like visceral fat, right? Not just your subcutaneous fat, but your visceral fat
Skin
levels.
fat and internal
Yeah.
fat, I like to call it.
So we've hit the caloric intake very nicely and quite in depth. Let's talk a little bit about preparation and sustainability and why is it so important to have sustainability when it comes to diet, Pat? Especially if we're going plant-based.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's an important thing, is sustainability of a diet. Now, whenever a client comes to see me and they're looking for good nutrition, I don't look at something that's going to last this person 6 weeks. We got to make lifelong changes. And that's what we should all be doing, because that's what's going to either prolong our life or reduce our life or increase the quality or decrease the quality. It's what we're going to do. It's these little 100 calories. It's these little differences that are going to stick. The vegan, why I don't like the vegan diet, I think it's a cool thing if you want to change a lifestyle, embrace it. Kill yourself for a month. Not kill yourself, but do it for a month and then pull back and have some flexibility, because it's not sustainable. I know I had a vegan dietitian working for me, and she was so strict. She was like so deep into this vegan. She was like the vegan lifestyle, the vegan warrior. And I'd catch, like, I had these little frickin' protein balls that were delicious, made with like butter and cheese and all the freaking plant-based shit that she would never eat. They would go missing, and I'd be like, Tara, where'd the fucking plant-based, non-plant-based protein balls go? And she would never even, like, she wouldn't admit it. I'd have to ask her, and see like a half-eaten bag in where she was working. And I'd be like, where's the buttery animal ball? And she'd be like, oh, I couldn't resist. It's like, and she was the nth degree. She's an extremely smart girl, great dietitian, vegan to the T, but everyone fails. So it's like, why set yourself up for failure? I don't like ever setting someone up for failure. And the vegan diet, your chances of failure are high, because you go to your parents' house, you go to your friend's house, you go anywhere, and you're always like, I can't eat that.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just eat the rice. Oh, there's freaking
stuck in a box.
You're
right?
stuck
Once again.
Don't do it to yourself. Be healthy. I think plant-based foods, clearly, I really believe that being vegan, you're safe. It's the healthier diet if you balance it properly. I really do believe that, but you're just as healthy if you're 80% plant-based and you have a little bit of animal-based protein. You're flexible. You don't have to eat it every day.
It takes a ton of preparation, right? So if you are going to go vegan, you need to prepare more, number one. Number two, you're gonna set yourself up for failure if you can only eat vegan foods and you're at somebody's house that doesn't have that to offer, right? So maybe you don't put yourself in positions like that where you don't have the option for other food, but that's going to take a lot of preparation. So that means every time you leave your house, you got to make sure you've got some food that is vegan based.
Do you want to be the person with the Tupperwares going to people's houses? Don't be that person.
Well, it's not to say don't be that person if you are prepared enough and if you are organized enough in life that you can gather yourself on a weekly basis or prepare it in advance. Go right ahead, but that's
if you're
not
trying to lose weight and you're doing and you have a goal, but you don't want to do that for the rest of your life.
I'm not against veganism. I'm against unprepared
Dude, if you come
veganism.
to my house, I'm gonna invite you over for dinner once we get our new place. And if you come over with a Tupperware,
I won't. I'm against unprepared. I'm against unprepared veganism, and I'm against people who aren't going in and taking a sustainable approach to diet, which most people, vegan, plant-based, meat-based, keto, in the intermittent fasting, whatever diet you're on.
To the keto people out there, it's the same thing. Like I like the keto diet.
Yeah.
It's short term. There's small applications.
Regardless, it's
but
just
it's not a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Like it's not the.
Is it long term? Is it sustainable? It's not. So you got to have a flexible approach. You got to think of it from outside the box. And if you are going to go vegan or plant based, we strongly suggest that you meet up with a nutritionist, or that you get a plan, or that you prepare yourself so that you're not set up for failure. Because if you don't prepare, then you will fail, and then you're going to go back and you could relapse, and we'll catch you eating meat in the back of a dumpster, smoking rock on the streets of
smoking chicken nuggets.
Machine. All right, so we went through the three main points. Three main things you need to understand if you're going to go plant-based. Macronutrients being number one. Understand the pie chart, guys. Go Google it. Number two, caloric intake, ins and outs, caloric surplus, caloric deficit, complex carbohydrates or complex foods and simple foods, things that are broken down easier, basal metabolic rate, training, active levels, increasing nervous system activation, which or creating metabolic stress. If you're looking for a trainer, I got you covered there. I'm probably going to be going online soon because I just don't have enough time. But so caloric intake is huge. And another way of managing your caloric intake is also by being active, right? So those active calories, we did hit a little bit more of the inactive, the food calories and all that, but being active, having a higher basal metabolic rate, creating some metabolic stress on a regular basis is just like adding protein to your diet and dispersing it throughout the day. It's a good way of creating muscle protein synthesis and just keeping your body moving in an optimal.
Yeah, exercise goes beyond even just calories. Like the benefits of exercise,
way far beyond.
I was listening to this. He actually gave a presentation. This dude, everyone's talking about now. He just was at McGill giving a presentation with Dr. Joe Schwartz, David St. Clair. He was on Joe Rogan, and he was on this Rhonda Patrick show that I follow. And he's looking at ways that our cells improve healing and regeneration and keep us young. It's these sirtuin cells that regulate our DNA. And one of the main things you can do to activate these cells that help rejuvenation, healing, keeping cells young and healthy is exercise.
Moving, right?
One's just moving, like at a high enough intensity. Workout. It's gonna help you burn calories, but it's gonna protect your cellular health, like liver rejuvenation and prevent cardiovascular disease. Not only from just helping you burn calories, but the other mechanisms. It makes you feel good. It boosts confidence. Having more lean muscle mass, you're good.
Balances your hormones.
Increases
digestive activity.
If you're an old dude, low sex drive, got a pot belly, and a weak shlong.
Circulation comes in, right?
Get on a good diet and exercise. Come see this guy.
Absolutely.
He'll help you lift some heavy weights.
See me first. I'll refer you to Pat. We'll get you set up. Don't worry about it. We got you covered.
You're going to drop like 5 G's in the process. And,
you'll never talk to any of us again. 101 podcast? Yeah, right. Fucking kick that shit to the curb. Don't fucking show me that. And so, number 3, preparation. So 3 things you really need to know. Macronutrients, calories, and sustainability, flexibility, preparation. Those are very, very important topics that you should understand before you go plant-based, before you go vegan, before you go anything outside of your ordinary. You gotta be prepared. You gotta understand the basics. Another thing that I wanted to mention, Pat, was we do know that the nutrients and the foods that we're taking in obviously create a short-term or long-term effect. So what are the risks associated with cutting out or reducing meat intake? Are there risks? Are there not risks?
Risks, I'd say you're going to a vegan diet, you're at risk for protein deficiency if
Mhm.
you're not careful with your proteins, and that's why we were saying
So macronutrient
Track.
deficiencies.
either go see a qualified nutritionist or learn to track yourself and make sure you're getting enough protein, know your sources, supplement with a vegan protein powder.
Yeah.
And then the only other real risk I'd say, like, plant-based foods are high in iron, magnesium, zinc. Like, what are you going to get mostly from meat is protein, iron, magnesium, zinc. Plant-based foods, you're eating beans, it's loaded with all those things, spinach and
B12, right? Would also be a...
yeah. The main thing is B12 and supplement. I mean, people who eat meat are deficient in B12 all the time. Like, it's super common deficiency. I was low. I was on the low end. I mean, I'm like a flexible vegetarian. I don't eat a lot of meat, but I eat meat on a regular weekly basis. And even when I had tested my blood recently, even last year, it was on the borderline low. So just one of those things.
You're risking nutrient deficiencies pretty much with and micro
Yeah.
and macronutrient. And micro, we already said, if you're in a deficiency, this can create a long-term, I guess, effect on the body. That's just something we don't want to explore into, and we don't really even need to expand into it. We're not going to get into the details of nutrient deficiencies, but I guess that would be your main risk involved is nutrient deficiencies, right? Or lack of
only B12.
lack of
protein.
sustainability.
Like,
as far
nutrients are higher on a vegan diet. Like,
Yeah.
all nutrients are higher. You don't have to
Mhm.
worry about anything, especially if you're primarily going to be getting protein from beans and legumes. You don't have to worry about any iron deficiencies or anything. Always make sure with iron, if you're pairing it, you're eating a lot of vitamin C. So plant-based diets, everyone should. I don't care like who you are. We should all be eating enough vitamin C through fruits.
Yeah.
I love low carbohydrate fruits in the morning, berries like raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. Low carbohydrate, high vitamin C fruits throughout the day. If you're eating enough vitamin C is one of the most important things in terms of iron absorption. It'll help you pull in that iron from your beans, from your breads, from your oats, whatever you're getting it from. So eat your vitamin C. You don't have to worry about any nutrient and supplement with B12. We should almost all be supplementing with B12 and vitamin D. Those are like the two things that are hard to get from diets, even if we're eating meat, unless we're eating like massive carnivores. Guys, the plant, trust me, I believe in plants. I don't want to come from the side where I look like I'm knocking it. I don't like strict. We should all be eating more plants. It's better for the environment. It's better for your health. But I don't think you have to never eat animal-based products again. But I think it's a good idea to change lifestyle is to go heavy for a month and then pull back. Dive into this whole vegan thing. See how you feel. If you have cholesterol issues, it's probably the best thing you can do. If you have blood pressure issues, it's the best thing you can do. Why is it the best thing? Why is it really helping your blood pressure in the short term? It's one of the things that the podcast or the movie tied into. Potassium. When your potassium is in the normal level, the right level, on a plant-based diet, you only get your potassium from plants, fruits, vegetables, grains. If you get the right amount, you can lower your blood pressure 10, 15 points in like 2 weeks.
As short as a couple weeks, right? Yeah.
A couple weeks but you don't have to be vegan. If you just eat a little bit of meat, your blood pressure is not going to go back up. It's about the intake of the fruits and vegetables that's lowering it, whether there's meat there or not. This is the DASH diet. This is like the American Heart Association diet is a plant-based diet, and it's designed to lower your blood pressure, and it's just about getting the right amount of potassium. Plant-based foods are loaded with it. Oranges are one of the highest natural sources.
It's great for you. It's great for you.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, vitamin C, antioxidants.
So another thing. So now that we've discussed the risks involved, I'm going to film this one. So now that we've discussed the risks involved with cutting out meat, what are the risks associated with meat, Patrick? I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, I look huge in this video.
You're looking jacked today, man.
Damn.
Have you been on a 12-week power program, or have you been?
I've been on the 12-week power program, and I'm getting huge.
That's it. You know, you'd also be deadlifting, like bending. Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
Man titties. So
why are there risks associated with meat?
I think this is a nice point to make. Is eating plant-based foods, there isn't really a risk. I mean, the biggest risk is probably the pesticides, but just clean your foods. It's a controllable factor.
Okay.
With meat, like the meat is heavily correlated with certain kinds of cancers, like colon cancer, meat intake, and also heart disease because of the cholesterol and the fats you get from the animal-based proteins. And when you cook meat, it creates these heterocyclic compounds that are carcinogenic, these polycyclic amines, and they've been linked. I don't know how strong the correlation is, but they have been linked to colon cancer for one, and it's
heavily linked to colon cancer. I actually did sorry to cut you off there.
It's okay.
I read, I think it was an 80 page study from the Cancer Research Fund, and that was where they found the most evidence. It was colon cancer.
Yeah.
It was very heavily linked to colon cancer. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. And I mean, it's probably people with just shitty diets in general. And then when you have you don't have enough antioxidants, fibers coming in to protect your intestines. And you're eating a lot of meat and just shitty foods in general. I think it's one of those things. But there's risks to eating meat, and it comes from the excess cholesterol. And when you cook that cholesterol, you burn it. It's even worse for you.
Mm-hmm.
The certain kinds of fats.
Carcinogens, right?
Well, the carcinogens are the heterocyclic amines. They're separate from the cholesterol.
Okay.
But the burnt cholesterol the body can't use, and it's more likely to get stuck somewhere in the
in the arteries, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Cool.
And then these heterocyclic amines, when you heat meat, they form on the top of it. It's like some of the proteins turn into this, and those things are carcinogenic. So they say, like, if you put on like fresh herbs onto your meat, the antioxidants from the fresh herbs neutralize the formation of these heterocyclic compounds.
Okay.
That are carcinogenic and can create issues. So there's a risk. There's like inherent risks to eating meat. Where is there inherent risks to eating beans?
Hell no.
If you
overconsumption in anything is gonna create risk, but is there really a risk?
I don't think so. Like from eating plant-based foods, is there really risks besides the risk of the pesticides? But again, you just clean your shit well.
Yeah, and nutrient deficiencies. And what is it now when you get too many nutrients, right? Is that a thing? Is there a risk in getting too many?
Not from
specific
whole foods. Like the body
micronutrients.
The body can regulate,
absorb it and regulate that.
It can regulate excretion really well and absorption.
Okay.
It can decide to not absorb nutrients, and it can decide to increase excretion.
Okay.
It's nice and tightly regulated.
So
the blood's always in control. If there's too much of something, it immediately slips out the kidneys through the penis or into the shitter. And everything's happy. It can slide it into fat cells. It can store things excess in other cells. Like the body's amazing. You don't have to worry about that. But I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't like multivitamins, because your body's now gonna have to deal with a large influx that it doesn't need and can't use.
So over your daily recommended intake, right?
Right.
Your daily values.
So we've all taken multivitamins before. Our piss is neon green. Why? And it's shortly after, within 6 hours, because we're getting too much coming in. Get it the fuck out. Like piss, and you're not only pissing out that excess, but whatever else has to go with it. And there's always other things that go with it. And so it's like, it's not necessary. There's no good science behind taking multivitamins. I think if you need to supplement with anything, take specific things. We all need vitamin D. We all need B12. And get like a high quality, specific kind of vitamin. I don't like the high dose multi-synthetic. It's all balanced to salts.
Far above your daily intakes, right?
Yeah. Then you're just going to piss them all out.
All right, so I guess that summarizes the risk involved, or risk associated with eating meat from a science perspective and a general perspective too. What else do we got to talk about? Well, I'm going to end this video now, and we'll carry on with the podcast, the 101, baby. Here we are. This is we're not done this one, but we're done this one.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. I mean, we've touched most of the topics that have been brought up in the movie The Game Changer, and that are brought up by a lot of our friends.
What
family
is
members.
your opinion on the Game Changers?
My opinion on The Game Changers, what I like about it is, just like I said earlier, our main reason for having this podcast is not to push or promote anything. It's just to give people the correct information in an easily digestible manner. So I think what it does is that and I'm not by any means calling people stupid. Actually, no, I am actually. So yeah, people are stupid. So they need to understand it from a very, very child perspective. And I think that, once again, I don't want to insult anybody, but because we're not perceptive, we're not receptive, sorry, if we're not interested in something. And so I think they took a cool approach at making it very interesting for people to want to listen to.
Yeah.
And
it's key that
I also
they
think-
use celebrities.
yeah, it's
Arnold
key to use
Schwarzenegger.
celebrities. So I like that they brought to light a lot of the science and a lot of the truths behind eating meat and behind the benefits of plant-based diet that most people wouldn't even listen to otherwise, right? So why I like it so much is because it brought light to something that most people would usually just say no to and not even
Yeah.
think twice to watch. So I think
It's
that's
an eye opener for a lot of people.
it's an eye
And it is
opener for a
good-
lot of people, even though guys like him and I have been talking about plant-based and have been talking about flexible nutrition, intuitive eating for years. You're not going to listen to Pat and Joe. Well, maybe you will now, but you know, Chris Paul and
You will now, friends, because we've been saying this for 4 years now.
yeah,
Plant-based nutrition, for 4 years we've been talking about it.
yeah.
Now you're going to listen because of the Game Changers.
Oh shit! What is this? Monitor on. Are we back?
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. So yeah, you're gonna listen now. We appreciate that you're gonna listen now,
We do.
and we want to offer you additional information about fitness, nutrition,
Yeah.
health benefits, risks associated with certain diets, training protocols, powerlifting, finance, and entrepreneurship, marketing, online. We want to touch all these subjects, and we want to hit in a macro and a micro level. So we will be dropping these podcasts. We're gonna try for once a month.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty shitty that we're gonna say that, but we're on busy schedules.
If it happens more, it happens more, but I think...
Yeah, we're
I think
gonna
once-
aim for the first Monday of every month, and so look out for that. Guys, we just want to give you the information that you deserve, and we want to give you guys an advantage in life. By understanding certain things you might not have understood in any other way,
And
or
we're gonna
cared
entertain
about.
you too. Like, this should be entertaining.
It should be entertaining. I think we need to bring the dogs in one time. Actually, that would be fun.
We're all sitting on me. Like,
So risks associated with eating meat, of course there are risks: heart disease, cancer. Is there anything else you'd like to add as far as general risks?
no, I'd say those are real risks.
Yeah, the risks associated: heart disease, cancer,
And
things
I
like
think
that.
it's key to bring back how I was saying, it's when you're eating too much, your risk for everything goes up. If you're eating too much and there's a lot of meat in the diet, then that's the issue. If you're eating the right amounts and it's heavily plant-based and you got a little bit of animal products,
Yeah,
it's just as good. I don't think it might even be better than the full vegan diet.
exactly.
I'd probably say, and less headaches.
Yeah.
You don't have to go with the Tupperware.
So in summation, flexibility is important, guys. Sustainability and daily habits, those are really the things you need to get a grip of. It's not what's on your plate, 99 times out of 100. It's the decisions you make, whether it be being active, reading, just focusing on you and understanding what helps and what hurts, what harms you and what will help you. That's very important. So we want to let you know that flexibility is a massive thing. Sustainability is really huge. Daily habits. We're not really here to promote anything. We just want to inform you guys, and you have the right to know. Hopefully you listen all the way through. I don't even know. I think we're at like 60 minutes at this point. Maybe we might even be over an hour, to be honest. But the first episode, guys, we promise we will shorten them up to about 30 minutes. And we're going to take some
60
clips.
minutes, eh?
I think so. I can't tell you. It's dark now. It's dark. You guys have seen the light go down.
Go home.
Pat's got to go home. It's 5 p.m. we basically just want you guys to understand what plant-based is.
Yeah.
If you don't understand it, you shouldn't necessarily take that plunge.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Go vegan for a month and then pull back, but keep a lot of that lifestyle.
Exactly.
And live the flexibility.
Yeah.
Go to your grandma's house and she makes you a nice meatball pasta lasagna.
Yeah, enjoy your life.
Sirloin steaks for dessert. And
exactly.
just eat it. Because
Eat it
go
and
right
enjoy.
back to your regular new lifestyle. Plant-based. The science is going to keep coming out. Plants are better for you. It's clear. But a little bit of meat's not going to kill you.
No. And there's risks associated both with meat and both with the lack of meat, right? So by cutting out meat, there are also risks. So it's about understanding risks.
Yeah, but those are like minimal risks.
Yeah, very minimal. Very, very minimal. But it's about understanding, from a general perspective, it might not be minimal, right? Freaking out, you don't get protein. But yeah, there are there are risks and benefits associated with both sides, but it's an overwhelming amount of benefits associated with plant-based. And you know it now. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the science behind it and have a general understanding of what it's about, how to approach it, why you should approach it. If you guys have any other questions, ask us in the comments below, send us a direct message, do whatever you got to do. We'll make it part of the topic of conversation for our future podcasts. One of the podcasts I really wanted to talk about, and we will hit this if you guys want to understand more about the basics of nutrition, we're going to have a Nutrition Basics 101 podcast where we talk about macros, caloric intake, and diet sustainability. We'll break those down a little bit more in depth next time. And so we really want to thank you guys for tuning in. We want you to know that we're not here to promote anything. We just want to give you guys the right information.
I'm going to promote my website, phytoperformancenutrition.com.
Boom.
Plant-based sports nutrition.
Love it.
Not vegan sports nutrition. Mind you, I will help vegans.
Yeah.
But plant-based.
Plant-based is not the same as vegan. So guys, we ask that you share this, you comment below. We really want to open a conversation more than anything. So if you guys have any questions for us, don't be shy. Like I said, direct message us, comment below, give us some topics you might want to hear us talk about, as long as it's related to fitness, finance, nutrition, entrepreneurship, family,
dogs,
friends, cats,
animals,
dogs, construction,
fashion.
No, but seriously guys, we want you to open a conversation. We're so happy you guys tuned in today.
We appreciate you. We'll be signing signatures out on the gravel driveway there in a second. Just come find us. We'll be
hopefully this podcast actually makes it out because it's starting to lag now. It's like it's getting slower. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Do you think anyone's going to watch this?
This is the 101 Nutrition, Finance, and Fitness with Pat and Joey. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful evening or day or morning or whatever it is. Just take care of yourself.
Be good.
Make the right decisions.
Go vegan for a month. Pull back.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you.
I'm not going to say it. Don't message
Tune
me
in for the next one. This is the 101 Nutrition, Fitness, and Finance with Pat. Have a wonderful day.
Take care, fellas. Let's see.
That was pretty cool, right?
I think we got solid content.
We got some solid content. We can, whoa, wowza. I don't know how long this is. It's got to be at least an hour.
23 hours and 39 minutes.
Oh, wow. Should we play it back just to hear a little bit of it?
Yeah. Oh, imagine it doesn't record.
Imagine.
It's happened before.
You know what? You live and you learn, man. That's a little bit loud.
Oh, it'll tell us here how long it is. An hour.